Says, I am live. I see no people, so I'm going to hang out for just a moment, enjoying a fairly quiet day. Having a little coffee in my garden. Let's see if anybody shows up. I don't want to talk just to myself. I'm sitting out in my beautiful garden. It's a beautiful September morning. I'm going to wait for at least one person to show up. Listening to all the birds. There's a dove. That banging is, that's the chicken coop right there. Well, somebody's here. Okay, I was waiting for somebody to show up. Whoever you are, good morning, hello. Thank you for clicking in because I didn't want to just talk to myself, but now I can start talking. Oh, who is that? Somebody from Australia. Well, how fun. I am that. So whoever you are, thank you for popping in. I want to talk about what's going on with our immersion portal. So what am I talking about? Anyone who's been following me a little bit has, hey, that's the little dog now barking at the rooster. No, leave him alone. Sorry about that. I am doing some renovations, some redecorating, some sprucing up, some freshening up at my childhood home in Wichita, Kansas, getting ready for the Beyond Quantum Healing, the BQH Immersion Course that's coming up, the immersion event. And it's where we gather, and we've had as many as 12 people show up at this class. Because of the number of bedrooms and spots and things like that, we have reduced it down to 10. And you know what? We still have seats open because there's been last minute things happen with some of the people who've been planning on coming, and they're not able to make it. So I'm still talking about the course in that way because we have open seats available for the immersion course. Let me start by telling you what day it is. It's October 6th of this year. Meet and greets on the Sunday, 4 classes, or excuse me, 4 days of classes, events, session swapping, and then that Friday is a fantastic casual day right here at the farm. But okay, all that put aside, this is happening at the house. So I've always had this sense that the house, it was special. It's my childhood home, right? It's also where I've had many, many paranormal experiences. But I've had paranormal experiences absolutely everywhere, all over the planet, in other homes, in my own home, outside, all of that. But what I'm finding is the more time I'm spending there, and I have to say, Dolores was the one who was like really encouraging me to spend more time there, to write there, do sessions there, and now to hold session swaps and classes there because the place is ramping up. I've always known it. I've always known it, but it's ramping up. If you have caught at all a blog article that I posted recently, I was talking about the fact that my husband was there probably, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. And one of the bedrooms is now his main office, and it works nicely because even though we work here at the farm, sometimes, you got to have a change of pace, change of venue, change of scenery, and it's worked out. Hi, Elizabeth. Thank you for popping in. So he's been going there to do his office work, and he, of course, is all of the support behind the scenes at quantumhealers.com. He's a big part of that team. And he was just working at his desk, and all of a sudden he heard, "Hey, Tom," from the hallway. And he said it sounded like Mandy. Now, who's Mandy? Well, Mandy mainly is the person who takes care of my dad. But a couple of days a week, if it works out, if somebody else is here taking care of Dad, she's been helping me, which has been a blessing, such a fantastic blessing. She's been helping me around the farm, and she's been helping me in renovating Dad's house. So she's been there doing things like painting and straightening up and hauling off stuff and that kind of thing. So Tom hears what he thinks, he says the closest he could put it was Mandy's voice saying, "Hey Tom," quite loudly, middle of the day, it's like noon, and she's not there. He gets up, he looks around, there's nobody there, and he kind of just shrugs it off and goes back to work. So he tells me about it, he tells Mandy about it, I write about it, I talk about some of that in the blog. Well, we've had more things happen. And this time it's Mandy who tells the story. So Mandy was there, and she was working in my old bedroom, which is now got a big 4-poster wooden bed in it. You know, we're redoing, shuffling again, furniture and things like that. And it's going to be one of the main session rooms during the immersion class, and she was in there scrubbing down, cleaning some of the wood surfaces, the bed and the shelves and the bookcase and the window frames and that kind of stuff. So she was in there sprucing up the wood in there with her orange oil and rag. And she says all of a sudden she heard my voice, and she said that I called out to her and said, "Hey Mandy, I'm here." And so she thought, oh, okay, Candace is here. I'm going to go see, what she has to say. Whatever, right? She's going to come out and greet me. So she comes out to the hallway, and there's no one there. And so she walks throughout the whole house, and I'm not there. I'm actually headed there, but I'm not there. And I show up a little bit later, and then she tells me the story. And so I've been thinking a lot about this, right? I'm thinking about all of the different things that I've had happen there at that house, but also exactly what is happening at that house. And what I find absolutely fascinating is people hear disembodied voices quite a bit. But the calling out of the name is something different. And I think in a Facebook post, matter of fact, I'm sure I did, I said, do you ever hear your name called out? Because these are events that we really remember when we hear our name being called and we can't place the voice, or maybe we think we can place the voice, both of those things. But when you hear your name calling out, it's the way I tend to categorize it a little bit. This is a direct, personal conversation or connection or communication of some kind, right? It's not, hey, you. It's not, I am that says all the time. That's fantastic. I tend to think a lot of things. And that's what this whole video is about, is I've been pondering all of that, because I hear this from my husband just a couple weeks ago. I hear it from Mandy yesterday. And then they both left, and I was at the house yesterday for 2 hours, maybe a little longer myself, working on some things, and it's quite quiet, and I'm ready to absolutely hear my own name, right? But it hasn't happened. It didn't happen yet. Elizabeth says, I heard my name. Yes, it was male, and it came from between my ears. Now, I've heard that before too. But this is the kind of voice where where Tom and Mandy both have said it was outside. It was like behind the door. It was quite loud, and it wasn't between their ears. It was like in the space, and they literally go out to they think somebody's there. Mandy thought I was there. Tom thought Mandy was there. And again, the name is interesting. So, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to think about what that's all about. I know this is kind of, I'm keeping the shadow on my eyes so I don't squint. Maria says something. I've had my name called in my ear as I was sleeping. I've had that too. I've had that too. It's fascinating too. And although it's it's been back and forth, a lot of times women hear men and men hear women. When it's the name thing, which I find, kind of fascinating. Certainly not universal, because it's been both. But I started thinking about what's going on a little deeper. And so one of the things that I'm working on and preparing for this fall is I'm going to be speaking at the International Mandela Effect Conference. Now, according to Cynthia Sue Larson and others who really study this whole consciousness and reality construction concept, which is really what the Mandela Effect is, one of the things that Cynthia talks about in depth in her book, and then also in some of her shows and things, is this concept of bilocation, right? Bilocation. And I started wondering about that. Because let's say my husband was hearing Mandy's voice and Mandy was hearing my voice. I started wondering about this idea of part of our energy, which has been, from all three of us, we have been working very hard on that house, getting it ready for everyone. I wonder if some of that could possibly be a Mandela Effect idea. This bilocation, not by sight, but by voice. Cynthia Sue talks about, and I believe it was at a Mandela Effect conference or some other sort of conference, where she was in a hotel lobby and saw a woman, a very distinctly dressed woman, walk in through the lobby, I believe check into the hotel or something, and then move off to the event. And as she is still standing in that same place in the hotel, a few minutes later, she sees the same person come in and repeat the steps and do the same thing about entering into the event. And so she actually approaches this woman and says, wait a second, were you just here a few minutes ago? And the woman says, no, I wasn't. But there Cynthia Sue saw her wearing the same clothes, making the same movement, checking in at the event. So what is that? Well, that's considered bilocation. But maybe there's other kinds of bilocations, right? Like the voice thing. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Mish says, good day from Australia. Boy, you Aussies, I love your accent. By the way, do you know, okay, I'm going to tell a secret on myself. When I'm by myself, when I'm out here doing gardening and stuff, I practice an Australian accent just to entertain myself and because I love it so much. I really do. I am not going to do it for you right now, though. Mish says, I feel I have slipped timelines. Yeah, you are up late, aren't you? Thanks for checking in, though, Mish. I think the timelines are all like, I think they're going, I think they're kind of on top of each other and shifting, and you're kind of in one and you're kind of in another. But as I was talking to Mandy just a little bit ago, before coming out to tend to the horses, I said, have you ever been to, there's a movie theater here in town in Wichita. It's up at 13th Street in K96, and it's just one of those standard movie theaters. And the Cineplex, I don't even remember what the specific name is right now, but it's up at 13th North and K96. And they have the kind of movie theater where they have, when you walk in, there's a general concession and then there's movies. And then if you walk down a long hallway, they have some, it's different kinds. You can like choose seating, and there's different food options and that kind of stuff. It's kind of an upgrade portion of this movie theater. It's been a long time since I've been to a movie, but I have been to movies at that theater. And I was talking to her about this because she, quite frankly, she's a little creeped out about what happened with the voice. So I was talking to her about this idea of bilocation. So why am I bringing up this theater? Well, because Mandy has been to the theater. As a matter of fact, she's been there just recently. And there's an interesting architectural detail in that theater that does something with the human voice. So what am I talking about? So outside the, I don't know, there's 5 or 6 theaters down this long hallway. And then there's a tinier, much smaller concession stand right outside this, this hallway of theaters. When people stand in line there to order and receive their refreshments, they're standing in a space where above them, the ceiling, there's like a bowl. It's like a dome bowl up there, and it's softly lit, and it's actually quite lovely. And it's not large, and it's high, but not overly giantly high. It's not many stories up, but it's high, and it's like a, again, it's almost like if you could project one of the star skies sort of, you know, in theater in the round kind of stuff up there, but it's nothing more than just an element, and it's lit. Something about standing under there changes everything about the voice. And so what am I talking about? So you can be standing, let's say you're going to get a soda or something in line there, and you're standing in line, and somebody all the way across the dome part, so far away from you, who's much further ahead of you in line waiting for their refreshments, they may say something quietly to their neighbor, and you can hear it like they're right here. Just like they're right here. You have to really be careful about talking when you are in that spot, because the acoustics there sort of take the voice and it delivers it. You know, I don't know much about it's cymatics, isn't it? You know, I mean, with, but I think it has something to do with that. I am that says the lesson is don't gossip about your neighbors, right? I mean, you really have to, you know, we as humans, we say things quietly to whoever we're with, thinking sometimes that it's very private. Well, in that spot, if you're ever in, I think there's some basilicas and some churches and some other places, maybe some temples that have that same sort of architectural detail. But what I want to talk about in that regard is, I think something like that is happening at this house. At this house in Wichita, where we're going to have this BQH immersion event. I think, you know, I said a portal is forming there. I think that an energetic architecture is manifesting in and over this space that allows us extraordinary opportunity for communication into realms that maybe we don't always have access to, right? I mean, I really think that's happening. I wrote that article, and even as I'm writing that article, you know, sometimes I say stuff and I have the little voice inside of me, and I'm like, is it really a portal? Is it really just going? It's just this one thing that happened to my husband, and now it's happened again to Mandy. And I flat am waiting to see if it happens to me. And for me, who would I hear? I don't know. Dolores? My brother? I have to say, I've heard plenty of things in that house. I have plenty of experiences over my lifetime that have happened in that house. Our friends Donna McMurtry and Diana Adair, BQH practitioners who are coming to assist, of course, in the immersion event, and who also fantastically are such fantastic cooks, are making all of the fresh organic food right in that kitchen. They will be staying at that house. That is going to be their base location. And them staying there, if they don't come back and tell me they have some extraordinary experiences leading up to this class, I don't know what. I've asked them before, because they've stayed there before, and they stayed there actually for our last BQH immersion. They stayed in that house, and then they traveled into the lake house in Augusta. And although I've been thinking about having the class at the Harry Street house, or my childhood home in Wichita, it just wasn't ready yet. You know, there's still piles of things in boxes, and you know, it just wasn't ready yet. And I'm having to really put pedal to the metal and make it ready for you all who are showing up this year, or this fall, I should rather say, because we've already had another one this spring. But they said they simply had very peaceful, very wonderful nights and experiences there, and they've slept very well. So we'll see how that changes. Okay, Mish also says we have Whispering Wall here in South Australia. Huh. You whisper across, and the arch holding back water can hear easy one side to the other. Interesting. Interesting. So there's water somewhere? Oh, I'd love to know more about that, Mish. 70 feet or more. Yeah, you know, it's extraordinary, right? So I just started thinking that, you know, we as humans, we tend to, um, when we can't see or can't explain or can't fully understand phenomena or things that happen around us, we get, you know, this, it's understandable. It's very human. We get like, well, that was weird, right? If we can't see it, if we don't understand it, if it's not laid bare, the architecture, the manner, the mode, the communication, the source of these kinds of things, sure, you know, what even is that? But at the same time, what I want to be very, very clear about is absolutely everything that's ever happened in that house, both decades past and just even these recent events, have not been in any way feeling malevolent at all. As a matter of fact, it's very matter of fact, very straightforward, very normal sounding thing until it was like, well, I don't even know what's going on there, right? So I actually think that there's a sort of clarity there. I actually think that what's happening there, and as I'm spending all of that time there preparing the space, both physically and energetically, for people who are going to show up, I think we're preparing for extraordinary breakthroughs in communication, right? And why not? So that's mainly what I wanted to say. And that we still have seats. Oh, I wrote another article about it. I think it came out just yesterday. It's mostly men so far, which is also like, what? In all the years I've ever done this, it's been very few male, sometimes more than others, a male presence, but always dominated by the female. And so far this time, so either more guys or come on, ladies, BQH practitioners, come on in. We're needing to fill some seats that were just recently left vacant. And one of the people, you know, my heart goes out to her. It's been the second time she's had to postpone. Why? Because she's caring for an elderly parent. So, you know, these things happen, of course. Dad's doing great. He just celebrated his 94th birthday. We had a little gathering out here. He had a marvelous time. All right. I am that says, I wish I could be there. Sounds like it's going to be phenomenal. Yes, I wish you could too. And for anyone who's listening, just by the way, there's only one prerequisite, and that's that you've gone through the online BQH course, and it's still a month away. You could get through the basics of the BQH course. Absolutely, you could get through that course and still make it here in a month if you're not already a BQH practitioner. But you know, we get the basics out of the way. But you can be brand spanking new and show up. As a matter of fact, that's one of the reasons a lot of people show up, is when they're really, really new and they haven't had an opportunity to do swaps. The swapping is, you know, intense. We do lots of swapping, lots of practicing, but at the same time, we have people who come back and people who re-come back because they've had such a great time together. It's really kind of a retreat. And, you know, day 5 is Friday, and that's right here on the farm, right? And it's just so lovely here this time of year when it starts to cool down. Yeah, here we are at the farm, and then we spend the day here at the farm on Friday, out at the portal and walking trails here. We have 80 acres where you can walk, and it's beautiful. And I don't know that the sunflowers will still be here, but here in September right now, this is the time of the sunflower. I make very sure I don't mow these guys down when they plant themselves. So I've got a few patches of these. Oh, and look how great my tomatoes are doing. They had a slow start, but here's my heirloom tomato patch. Uh-oh, something got to that tomato. Here's what we do though when we have there's an eaten tomato. You ready? Jalape's over there. That's my rooster, Jalopy. Hey, Jalopy! Look at this. Watch him go get it. Jalopy, you were slow on that one. There he goes. Some roosters are so nice. My friend Will Brown, he has a rooster who picks up delicate morsels of food and treats and brings them to his hens. Not my rooster. You know what that was? That was him telling the hens to get away because the treat is his. Hi, Brittany. How are you? Oh, you're one of my favorite BQH practitioners. I swear because of your heart healing story. Those of you who are listening or might catch this replay, go check out our video. It's on this channel where Brittany talks about her heart healing experience with quantum healing. It's fantastic. There's so many things that are possible doing this work, and I think more now than ever. And I think preparing for the Mandela Effect conference, by the way, I should just say that for people who cannot make the class, or quantum healers or BQH practitioners who can't for whatever reason make the immersion, I am already thinking about this Mandela Effect conference in November in Nashville, Tennessee, as kind of a mini reunion. It's hard for me to get away. It's hard for me to travel, but a number of BQH practitioners are going to be there. And of course, Shane Robinson, who's a BQH practitioner and is one of the founding board members of the International Mandela Effect Conference, is going to be there. And at least 5 or 6 other practitioners. My good friend Priscilla Lewis is going to be there. And Christina Brady is going to be there. She's going to bring her husband. My husband's coming, unless something falls apart here at the farm. It'll be the first time he's ever gone to a conference, which is fantastic. I really am looking forward to that. And some of my clients in the last month are showing up because they're so excited and so happy about what's happened in some of their sessions and how life has just improved so much after, after exploring consciousness. And that's the topic this year. That's the focus of this year's conference, the 4th Annual International Mandela Effect Conference. I'll put that link below too. And if you are interested at all in the immersion class and coming to check out that portal opening yourself, just go to quantumhealers.com. It's the courses page, and scroll on down at the very bottom is BQH Immersion. Again, we have seats available still. And you know what? If they don't fill, whatever. I know it's getting late, but it's happened every time. Every time at the last minute, it's like, okay, we're full now. Sometimes people wait, or sometimes the timing has to be just right. But if you're feeling called, we'd love to have you. All right. Here's Sarah Jane. Shane is the one who did my only BQH session. He's great. Yes, he's great. And I've only met him once in person. He was headed up to ECETI one year, and I know what year it was too, because that was 2019, before the world lost its mind. And I couldn't make it that year for whatever reason. I mean, someday I'm going to make it up there too. But so I have met Shane in person, and he's not far away. He's just in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is about 3 hours, 3 hours drive from here. But I've never been able to hug Cynthia Sue Larson in person. And man, oh man, just being in that woman's presence, I'm telling you, magic and miracles happen in her energetic field. I cannot recommend her work, her books, her events, her shows more highly. Cynthia Sue Larson. She's a treasure. All right. Okay, I gotta go. Got things to do. Thanks for checking in. Those of you who popped in so I didn't have to just talk to myself on the screen. And those of you who are watching later, sending you lots of love. Have a great day. Bye, everyone.